I was just sitting here thinking about yesterday, and I want to share it with you. So, my husband and I, we live here in St. Thomas, and island life is different from living in the States. The luxuries we have in the States of sometimes just getting in our car or driving a few blocks to, grab our favorite food or shop at our favorite store, or just something as simple as going to the doctor's office. It may not be as easy for you if you're living here on the islands, but um, you make it work. And yesterday was that point for me where I knew that sometimes we take things for granted, including our relationship with God. So yesterday I had to fly to Puerto Rico for a doctor's appointment because I am a veteran and the VA medical center is located in Puerto Rico, San Juan. So I was a little skeptical about flying yesterday because, as you know, if you look at the weather, we are having some tropical systems that have formed over the island, and they're bringing a lot of rain. So I was a little skeptical about flying. I did it anyway because I didn't want to miss this doctor's appointment. Flew there. The flight was okay. You fly there in these little small planes. I'm from the South, so we call them little crop duster planes. But they're very small. You can feel everything. It's intense. But on the way back, things changed. We got in the air. It's about a 30-minute flight from San Juan back here to St. Thomas. We made it right to the airport. I could actually see the runway. And as we were headed down into the runway, the pilot makes a sharp right turn and heads away from the runway. And I was a little uneasy because she didn't tell us why. It was maybe about 2, 4, 6, maybe 7 of us on the plane. And she started to loop around this island that was maybe a few miles off from St. Thomas. She just made maybe 3 circles. And I want to say maybe the 3rd time around, she turned around to us and said, "Hey, I can't land because there is a plane that landed before us. And when the plane landed, it had a flat. So we have to loop around a little bit until they fix the flat." I was a little uncomfortable with that because I noticed that the clouds were starting to get darker and darker and darker. So we looped around. We kept going in a circle. Before we know it, 15 minutes had lapsed. Then another 5 minutes had lapsed. So at that time, I started to pray. But this time it was a different type prayer. It wasn't a prayer of fear. I just felt like I went a little bit deeper with God. I started to really think about the things that I appreciated in life, the things that I didn't want to miss out on. It wasn't this, oh, I'm about to die. It was something different. And ironically, I have been praying that God allow me to go deeper with him. And in that moment, I felt like I had broke through something, that I was in a deeper place with God, and that I was able to communicate with him on a different level because I was placed in an uncomfortable situation. And I'm saying this to you because you remember that book that this guy wrote some time ago, and it was about why do bad things happen to good people? And I thought about that in that moment, like, this is one of the reasons why God allow us into situations like this, not to scare us, but to help us to break through that plane that we need to go deeper with him. And in that moment of all of this, I felt like I was in a deeper place with God. And I was actually at this level of, I don't know how to describe this, but it's like an uncomfortable peace. Like I knew I was in an uncomfortable situation, but I had this level of peace that I knew God was with me. So when you find yourself in those uncomfortable, tough situations where you can't even explain why, why you're going through what you're going through, or why God would allow you to go through something like that, use that time to go deeper into a place with God that takes you to a level of peace, to this serene level where you'll never ever forget that. Like I'll never forget what I went through yesterday. Didn't like it, but it broke me through into this different dimension with God that I'll never forget. How even in the time where I really didn't know if we were going to run out of gas and that was it, but it was a time where I could like say, this is what it feels like to really be in that moment with God. And sometimes that's why God allow us to go through the toughest things in our lives, so that we can encounter him and never ever forget it. Hope this helps y'all.